There was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments. He would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as a detective. I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
That I'm committing myself.
7 months and 22 days ago, one day after what would have been Celeste Rivas Hernandez's 15th birthday, her remains were found in a Los Angeles impound lot inside the trunk of a Tesla. Decomposed, dismembered, sealed in a bag, and placed in the front trunk. 5 months and 3 days after the last time Celeste had been officially listed as missing in Riverside County. Authorities had said the vehicle had been abandoned in the Hollywood Hills for a stretch of time before being towed to a lot. And it was a foul odor coming from the car that led staff to look inside and find Celeste. The Tesla in question was registered to internet sensation David. Millions of questions started immediately emerging as David had been on tour halfway across the country when the car was initially towed. Did David even know who this child was? The car might have been in his name, but was he actually using it? Why did he continue doing live shows once a body was found in this car? It's now been over 7 months and tons of questions remained unanswered. But today, over 7 months later, the most important question of why there hasn't been an arrest made has finally been answered.
Major breaking news now. Detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested singer David Burke for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Burke is being held without bail. The case will be presented to the DA's office on Monday for filing consideration. You may remember Rivas's body was found in the trunk of David's car in September of last year. She was only 14 years old. Again, this breaking news just into our newsroom. We're working to get more information and we'll continue to follow this story.
David was finally arrested Tuesday, April 14th and is being held without bail. He was arrested in an LA home that he's been staying at, which is absolutely insane, and you'll see why once we go through everything we know about the case. And TMZ is told that the case will be presented to the Major Crimes Division, where prosecutors will review all the facts and evidence and determine whether there's enough evidence to actually file charges against David. And you might be asking, how did the police arrest him if prosecutors haven't even filed charges against him yet? Well, I'm no lawyer, but I think that means that things are looking really bad for David, because the police can arrest someone if they believe there's probable cause. So right now it's looking like, with all the evidence that the cops have gathered over the last 7 months, they have enough to arrest David without yet charging or prosecuting him. But you might be also asking, how the hell did it take 7 months to gather just enough evidence to simply arrest the man, when the internet has damn near solved this case for over half a year at this point? We're going to take a look at absolutely everything we know, all the disturbing details of David's alleged relationship with this now deceased 14-year-old girl, and you'll see why this arrest has been imminent from the very start. Now, if you guys don't know who David is, he was born in Queens in 2005. He shortly after moved to Houston and grew up in a devout Christian home, with gospel and choir shaping his earliest musical world, having very little secular influence. David lived in solitude. He once said he learned to love solitude and to find creativity in the quiet, an idea that threads through a lot of his songs. Around 13 years old, on a school laptop, he actually stumbled onto Lil Pump's Gucci Gang song, his first mainstream rap exposure, and that opened a new universe of sound that led artists like XXXTentacion and the Members Only Circle to inspire David and shape his early exploration into a music career of his own. Gaming, specifically Fortnite, became another doorway into the entertainment industry. David initially built an online audience by posting his gaming highlights onto YouTube and Discord. By middle school, David was homeschooled, which amplified isolation. His real-world friends had drifted. But online, he poured himself into Fortnite montage edits and made friends through Discord. But he ran into a problem. Copyright issues kept stopping him from uploading videos. And it was then that his mother actually asked him the question that kickstarted his career into making music. She asked him, why not just put your own music on your montages instead? So one night, sick of copyright strikes, David Googled how to make music on an iPhone. He found BandLab, downloaded it, and started recording the next day. His studio initially was very bare bones, just an iPhone, wired Apple earbuds, and his sister's closet as a booth. But it worked. He approached songs like a gamer and a visual artist, saying that the cinematic vibe of montages made him want his songs to feel like mini films, music that you can almost see. His process was very instinctive. Most sessions were him in that closet, scrolling instrumentals and letting the track tell him what to say. Early lyrics leaned into heartbreak, loneliness, and longing, even when those emotions were imagined. He would read stories of other people's lives through Discord chats and make songs about their lived experiences.
I would sit down and try to find things for inspiration because I was just writing these beautiful, beautiful songs. My mother was like, where is these lyrics coming from? You're homeschooled. What do you know about love? What do you know about heartbreak? I would go on Discord and I would go on Fortnite and I would not just let people talk to me and just tell me about their lives. And I would basically just take their lives and write songs about them.
David was homeschooled. David was isolated. David turned to Discord not just for friendship, but for creative inspiration. Eventually, he began uploading these songs onto SoundCloud, and by July of 2022, he released Romantic Homicide to the world. That song was recorded with those same Apple earbuds in that same closet back at home. But TikTok shot that song into orbit. It hit number 3 on Billboard's Hot Alternative Songs charts, and immediately, he signed with Interscope in September of 2022.
Back of my mind, but then you think that I'm gonna say you died, but I say I killed you. So it's not like the thought of her is gone by itself was something that she did. It was something that I decided to do, I killed her in the back of my mind. But it's really more of a figurative I killed you, especially in the back of my mind. I try to stress that in the back of my mind. That's why I say it so loud. In the back of my mind, you died.
By 2023, his momentum propelled. He began releasing several projects, then stepped onto global stages, opening for SZA's SOS tour. And by early 2025, he released his debut album, Withered. David quickly became an internet sensation, racking up brand deals with massive empires like Crocs, Hollister, and even Fortnite itself. And with all the success accumulated, it was time for David to hit the road on his own solo tour. But this is when fans started noticing something strange. At every tour stop, a large silver casket was carried in and set near the performance space, with baskets of stickers and brand trinkets placed beside it, like a memorial table. And given the themes of his music, heartbreak, loss, tragedy, violence, maybe it was just branding. But even without the tragic story that would come to light just weeks after this tour, regardless, no doubt this was still a jarring way to frame a live performance.
Now, why would the artist do that?
Keep in mind, the themes of a memorial service implemented into his tour had taken place during performances in July and August of 2025, around the exact same time that the Tesla in David's name had been found abandoned. And if you dig through David's music, you would notice that these dark themes emerge not just in his tour visuals, but in nearly every record David released. Remember, a lot of David's music was written through the perspective of other people. It was instinctive and imaginative. And sometimes, when David wasn't going off of inspiration taken from other people's lives, he would create personas and characters, alter egos of his own. David said that the music video for one of his most famous songs brings to life an idea he had about a detective solving murders that his alter ego commits, and he's comparing himself to Brad Pitt in Fight Club. The music video in question is for Romantic Homicide, the same music video released on Celeste's birthday, and it introduces David's alter ego, Atami, a name that is Japanese for pain. He also says he was writing his own anime series at one point about a detective with an evil alter ego that commits unalivings, which the detective then has to solve. David says that the alter ego is basically an agent of chaos. David says the evil version would pop up at random moments, and he says his song and music video for Romantic Homicide allowed him to express those ideas, stating, "I put that all on screen, and me and Atami, the alter ego, had a great time just like chopping it up and getting to kind of merge creative ideas on the entire thing."
An evil version of me named Atami, which means pain in Japanese. He's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. And the story went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments. He would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. As the detective, I'd be like solving murder that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it.
Remember, this was a music video released on September 7th, 2022, the exact date of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's 12th birthday. But there was another music video released on Celeste's birthday, David's song Rehab. In the music video for that song, his alter ego cuts the arm off a petite brunette female character after he sings "It's too much for me to handle," white rose petals, broken hearts, and bloody sandals, body stacked on top of another, good undercover, too bad for each other now. But maybe all these dates were a mere coincidence. The benefit of the doubt could have been given to David, but once the news broke that her remains were in the front trunk of a Tesla under David's name, the internet did what it does best, digging for answers. What did David know about Celeste? Did he even know Celeste? How could a young child have ended up in a superstar's proximity? And how has that superstar ended up a prime suspect of her unaliving? Let's start with the car that they found her remains in. The car had been impounded after being reported as abandoned. The vehicle had been ticketed and flagged for parking violations beforehand. The car had allegedly been parked for months just a couple blocks down from a Hollywood Hills home that David had been renting. Once the body was found in the car, investigators obtained a search warrant and conducted a 12-hour forensic search of that Hollywood Hills home. During that search, law enforcement used luminol to detect trace amounts of blood and searched everything from the sinks, drains, floors, etc. They also collected fingerprints, hair samples, and other forensic material like electronics and computers from the property. A private investigator had reported that he received the original complaint that the Tesla was abandoned that was dated August 26, 2025. The complaint also noted a big dent in the rear of the car, but no odor was mentioned when the initial complaint was filed that the Tesla had been abandoned. Now, aside from the car that was left abandoned in the Hollywood Hills, remember that David had been living in Hollywood. But this entire time, the 12 days between the car being reported as abandoned until the day on September 8th when Celeste was found in it, the vehicle was never reported as stolen. Don't you think it's a little suspicious that with the car being registered to David, no one from him or his team was ever contacted that the car was abandoned and then towed and brought to an impound lot? And then if they were contacted, they never reported the car as stolen or tried to claim it? You would think if David had no idea on what was in that car, he would immediately try to retrieve it, right? Well, David was on tour at the time that his car had been impounded. He had left LA at that point for weeks. However, a Redditor had allegedly discovered a Tesla key hidden in the gutters right by David's house. And ever since NBC reported this, David ended up leaving his LA home, but his whereabouts were relatively unknown. In February 2024, sources claim is when David started living in the Hollywood Hills home that was searched by LAPD detectives after Celeste was found in the car registered to David. And this was the home that David's manager, John Marshall, had been renting. John Marshall is a manager over at Interscope, the label that David is signed to. But there's a bigger piece of evidence here. A neighbor of that home, someone who lives in a home right next to that one, has now claimed to the U.S. Sun that he saw the singer and Celeste all the time at the home, and he believes that they lived together in that house. The resident of the neighboring home said that he returned to Los Angeles from a trip and he was stunned to hear about the news. He said, "I just got here like yesterday. They were pretty quiet. I never saw the police there and didn't hear them partying or anything. Nothing wild. I was shocked to find out what happened. I didn't know he was a singer, but I knew he had a Tesla because it was always parked outside. He was with the girl regularly, all the time." He's referencing Celeste here, and he recognized her from photographs. He had also said, "I last saw them a couple months ago. I'm not sure, but I thought they were just kids, like a couple 18, 19-year-olds. I had no idea. It's crazy. I'd be in my car and we'd acknowledge each other. We'd say hi. That was about it. when they were heading to the store or whatever. I did ask him about his Tesla because his car was hit and he never fixed it. He didn't really say what happened. Anytime I tried to talk to them, they weren't very engaging. They kept to themselves. I haven't spoken to the police, but my friend who owns the home, aka the home that was right next to the home that David was renting, has spoken to the police. It's also very important to note that the owner of the home that David was renting, I'm definitely going to butcher this name, but Mladen Trifonovic, he confirmed that David's manager signed the lease and he has since asked to terminate it and started moving out their belongings. The owner of the home said they didn't want to be here anymore because of the ongoing circumstances. He also noted that there are 2 security cameras in the front and the back of the home, making it impossible for them to have snuck out a body from the home without those cameras catching him. He does claim, however, that anyone who rents out his property gets full access to the security cameras and footage, and he leaves it all to them. He doesn't have it anymore to respect their privacy. But of course, that's something that law enforcement can now take as evidence. Now, aside from the owner of the home confirming that David's manager had asked to terminate their lease on the property, NBCLA had also retrieved footage of the home showing that movers had moved a bunch of the belongings that were within the home.
News Chopper 4 was overhead as movers lugged several boxes out of the Hollywood Hills home of alternative pop and R&B singer David. The home is just around the corner from Bluebird Avenue, where LAPD investigators say a Tesla registered to the musician had been parked for at least a month before it was towed. On September 8th, workers at the tow yard discovered the dismembered body of Celeste Rivas inside of the Tesla's trunk after they noticed a strong odor coming from the car.
TMZ had required legal documents showing that David had transferred ownership of the 2 homes that he owned in Houston, putting them in a trust under his mother's name. And while this news only came out in late October, the transfers actually took place on September 18th and 22nd, just about 10 days after Celeste's body was found in the Tesla. And now David is the prime suspect. But in order to understand why law enforcement is looking at David directly, why they believe another person might have been involved in the attempt at disposing the body, we'll break all that down. But there's a lot of disturbing details we have to uncover behind the relationship between Celeste and David. On February 7th, 2024, David would post a strange TikTok with the caption that read, "When your card declines at therapy and they bring in that one Hello Kitty girl you met in 2021. Keep in mind, in 2021, David would have been 16. Celeste would have been 11. It was reported by sources that David and Celeste initially again met online in social media chat rooms. It's possible it was 2021. We don't necessarily know for sure that the Hello Kitty girl he's referring to is Celeste, but there's some dark details that indicate that it very well is. Number 1, on her missing persons report in April of 2024, it would state that the last time Celeste was seen, she was wearing Hello Kitty Crocs. On the same day that David had posted that TikTok about the Hello Kitty girl he met in 2021, he would also post a picture standing next to a woman who was wearing Hello Kitty Crocs. So remember, David meets this Hello Kitty girl in 2021. He ends up signing a record deal at 17 years old in 2022. And all throughout that year, along with his music, his social media posts were alluding to not just a turbulent relationship, but something deeper. He released a song in May of 2022 complaining about a girl devouring his soul and threatening to unalive her. He would make another song a few days later celebrating a girl that wants to come over. There'd be another song where he accuses a girl of lying and says his thoughts about the girl are getting deadly. Then he'd post another song about how fast the relationship was moving. On May 20th, 2022, he'd post a TikTok that said, "She left, but I expected it." In October of 2022, alleged Discord messages within David's Discord would show David writing the message, "Is Celeste in here?" And Celeste would reply saying, "I just joined, LOL." This would be around the time where David signed his record deal and took his first trip out to LA for music. Possibly the first time he met Celeste in person as well, because keep in mind, they met online initially. In November 2022, he would release a song called Notes from a Wrist, which contained lyrics like, I wanted you to take my soul, but you left it with me in the name of love. Run away from home again. In April of 2023, David would post a TikTok about being super sad that his girlfriend had left him. He'd also release a music video that month for a song called I'm Here For You, featuring what many people call a Celeste lookalike. A few months later, on September 7th, Celeste's 13th birthday in 2023, David posts a TikTok that says, POV, you guys when you hear the saddest songs I've ever made tonight. And the next day, September 8th, 2023, he releases his EP, The Lost Petals. Just a few days later, he would actually join SZA on her SOS tour, opening up for her. And by December of 2023, Celeste and David officially appear to be, at the very least, good friends. David posts a picture of him and seemingly Celeste on December 12th, 2023. And on December 13th, 2023, someone responds to a picture of David and seemingly Celeste by asking, who's the girl? And David replies, you're a Fed. 10 days later, December 23, 2023, is when David would allegedly record the song titled Celeste that would eventually leak online. In January of 2024, Celeste appeared with David on a live stream in California.
Mitochondria?
I gotta stop with him if you even.
We
need to delete this.
Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too? I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything.
And you could see on the bottom of this video, there's an alleged screenshot of an alleged conversation between Celeste and David on Discord, where she said, "My parents are so effing annoying. They won't let me see you perform." And David replied, "Don't worry, I'll fix it." Now, we don't know for sure that the Hello Kitty girl that David is referencing in that TikTok that he met in 2021 is Celeste, but there's several leading indicators that would point to it being her. David would post a picture on TikTok of him holding a Hello Kitty mug and wearing a Hello Kitty shirt, saying who had the best outfit in 2016. Someone would comment on the TikTok saying, "Can you adopt me?" And David would reply to the comment, tagging an account by the name of 0907, saying, "Should we adopt her?" Keep in mind the date 0907 is the same date of Celeste's birthday, September 7th. He would also post a picture onto his close friend's Instagram story of him with a girl, seemingly wearing the exact same sweater that Celeste was wearing in the live stream with him. The next month, February 2024, is when David's manager Josh Marshall began renting the home in the Hollywood Hills. That same month would be the first time that we'd get a missing persons document of Celeste. Keep in mind, authorities have said Celeste went missing multiple times in 2024, and that would lead us into a long rabbit hole of Celeste having issues at home, running away, coming back, and then leaving again, with police at one point even picking her up from Hollywood. A few months later would be the final time that Celeste would go missing, and based on her missing persons report, Celeste officially went missing in April of 2024. However, she didn't actually disappear without a trace. She was caught on security camera footage one time she left her family's house. At around 7 a.m. on March 19th, 2024, in Lake Elsinore, you can see a person in a black hoodie and white pants who was identified by her family as Celeste herself. she's walking down the street. TMZ had obtained this footage from a liquor store just down the street from where Celeste's family home was. This liquor store was right next to where Celeste would take the bus to go to school every single day. But this day was different. You could see her passing the liquor store, jogging, almost to get away from her home. The owner of this liquor store that had the surveillance footage of Celeste running away tells TMZ that Celeste's sister came to him on March 19th to ask to review the surveillance footage to see if Celeste was caught on it. Eli Nadaf, the owner of the liquor store, did an interview with TMZ where he emphasized that Celeste was a beautiful, quiet young girl. She didn't seem wild, and he built a connection with Celeste's family, trying to help them find her the second time she ran away in March of 2024.
I'm here for 11 years. I see this kids growing up in front of my eyes. It's hurt for you see all this generation like lost by social media, and it's sad. She's beautiful, quiet, shy girl. It's not like from the wild girls, and I shocked when I find out first time when she ran away or missing.
And you've been interfacing with her family in the years that she's been gone, right?
Yep. For when she missing first time, her sister coming here asked me, and we start looking at the camera to find out where she go and if we can find anything to get her back. It's hard for all the neighborhoods.
And these images that we've looked at, they're from over a year ago. This is the first time she ran away.
The second time.
Oh, the second time she ran away.
Second time after they bring her back. Second time in March 19, I think this will happen. This one, her sister coming here to. I said for a couple of days, check the camera till we find out exactly when she ran away.
Now, what's interesting is Celeste was actually spotted again in June of 2024, 2 months after her missing persons report came out, and it was actually on her cousin's TikTok. Celeste was also spotted one final time in September, arguing with one of the neighbors of her parents' home.
All the way up to the end?
Right there. I'll tell you where that. See that door right there?
Let me talk real quick, okay? You gonna let me talk?
I ain't gonna let you talk.
No, you ain't gonna let me talk. Why you not gonna let me talk? You tripping.
I ain't tripping.
Nah, you tripping. How about you ain't tripping? You gonna let a woman talk? Alright, I'm not gonna let your woman talk.
I see over here. We're good.
Your little house, you don't even got a house.
Hey, bro.
You talk to you.
Yeah, ain't nobody black right here, homie. We're Southsiders right here, homie. We're Southsiders here. Get it right, homegirl. Shut up with your black talking. Shut up. You talking like you black, girl, with your black talking. Yeah. Yeah. Ain't nobody black right here. What are you talking about? I said we're not black over here. Why you keep calling us? You keep saying this. We're not black. Hey, let it go. Go back to your house. Go back to your house. You ain't gonna do nothing, bro. What you gonna do? You ain't no gangster. You ain't nothing, homie. What you are? What you are but a little girl? What you but a little girl? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
You need to go home. Seriously.
I'm not Mexican. Salvador, you just tripping.
Oh my god.
Not because you tripping. Move the out of here.
You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna do shit. You better get over there. Get your over there, little girl. Go over there, little girl. You ain't gonna do shit. Go. Go. What are you gonna do, bro?
Go call her dad, babe.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, little girl?
So it gets a little weird in terms of the timeline because obviously her missing persons report was from April of 2024. There was no official announcement that she had been returned or found, but you are seeing footage of her all the way in September of that year back with her parents. But this is where David might step into the picture. I can't emphasize enough. Remember how at one point, the first time she went missing in January of 2024, police had found her in the Hollywood Hills. And remember, David had a home in the Hollywood Hills. The same home that was 2 blocks away from where the Tesla was parked and abandoned. February of 2024, someone commented on one of David's TikToks, waiting for LAPD to get you for messing with a 13. There's also alleged photos of David wearing the same wig that Celeste was wearing in a previous picture. Now, two people sharing the same wig obviously doesn't necessarily mean that they even knew each other, right? Sharing the same tattoo may not mean that Celeste and David knew each other, because if you guys didn't know, they both had on their index finger a tattoo that said, shh. But no, aside from this, based off what Celeste's family had been reporting and other clues that people on the internet had dug up, there's a lot deeper of a connection, allegedly, potentially, between David and Celeste than we might have thought. For example, Celeste's mother had did an interview with TMZ, and she said Celeste had a boyfriend named David. Celeste also had a brother named Matthew, who had also confirmed that Celeste was dating a man by the name of David. Now, while digging through David's Instagram, people on Reddit also may have found a secret Instagram account that was being used by Celeste, possibly even two Instagram accounts. In the first one, we get alleged DMs, again, could completely be fake, but it's with an account that goes by Wowness2, and they asked this account, are you still going to talk to David or go back with him, because I don't want you to get into any more trouble with him? And they replied saying, I'm safe. No, I'm not. Someone on Reddit had searched up that Wowness account, and they said, I searched up this Wowness account and found out that that account followed an account by the name of Matthew. That Matthew account was followed by David, and an account named Dolce, who looks to be Celeste's friend maybe. Dolce follows a lot of people from California, which is where Celeste was from. And these are the two Instagram accounts they're talking about. You can see the Matthew one, which was followed by the Wowness account that had that conversation about David, is followed by David. And the other one, which is titled Dolce or Help 12.01, which could match up with the date December 1st, was also followed by that Wowness account. Now, why is this significant? Well, here's where it gets kind of strange. Back in September of 2023, a Twitter account by the same name of Dolce had tweeted out to David, to which David replied. As far as who owns this Dolce account, many people believe it was either Celeste or her sister. And now this is where the rabbit hole gets very disturbing and a bit confusing, so stick with me. People went digging and found Celeste's missing person report posted by her family members on Facebook. After stumbling on Celeste's mother's Facebook, they found that her mother followed Celeste on Facebook. Meanwhile, Celeste, on Facebook, followed an account by the name of Esmeralda, and for privacy's sake, I'm going to leave her last name out of this. But that same Esmeralda account, same last name, same profile picture, was also followed by the Dolce account on Instagram. This gets deeper, but let me just catch you guys up to speed again. There's a screenshot of a conversation with an Instagram account that is named Wowness. In that conversation, someone's asking Wowness not to go back to David because they fear for the safety of whoever is behind that Wowness account. That Wowness account follows two separate accounts, one by the name of Matthew, which is followed by David, and one by the name of Dolce, or the handle Help 12.01. The Dolce account follows a person by the name of Esmeralda, who is also followed by Celeste on Facebook. That Dolce account also follows what's believed to be Celeste's aunt. They believe it's Celeste's aunt because not only does the Dolce account follow this person, not only is Celeste friends with this person on Facebook, but this person had posted about Celeste missing way back in February of 2024. Translated, this post says, "We still don't know anything about my niece, and I won't get tired of begging God for her to appear safe and sound. I love you, you know it. May God's mercy accompany you wherever you are. I have faith that you will return to our arms." That's Celeste in the photo, and her mother made these same posts in February of 2024 as well on Facebook, and that's how people ended up finding Celeste's Facebook. So remember, this all links back to a conversation with an Instagram account that went by Wowness. Loudness followed the Dolce account, which followed several of Celeste's relatives and people that she was friends with on Facebook. And the Loudness account also followed an account that went by Matthew, which David followed. Now I'm going to show you guys very alleged conversations in the DMs that allegedly took place with that same Matthew account that David followed. This Matthew account claims to be Celeste's brother. He claims that David found the account. He claims he went to the police about David's relationship with Celeste, but there was a lack of evidence at the time. He claims that Celeste would tell him her and David were going to get married when she was 18. I can't emphasize enough, this is all alleged. But if it is real, this is the very same account that was followed by David. Now, aside from these deeply disturbing alleged conversations with Celeste's brother, TMZ was also able to interview a friend of Celeste's from middle school. Damian Hernandez, who is now 15 years old, said he met and even briefly dated Celeste when he was in the 8th grade and she was in the 7th. He said she had a troubled life back at home, that she joked about running away, but he never thought she actually would. He also said he heard that she did have a relationship with David, but didn't know too much about it. But one day, she really did end up running away.
How did you meet Celeste?
Through a friend.
Tell me how that whole relationship started.
I guess she liked me, or she was looking for someone, and yeah, we started talking.
And what school was this in?
Lakeland Village.
Was she sweet? Was she kind? Was she bubbly? What do you remember about her?
She was really kind, and she said she wanted something serious.
And how old were you when you met her?
13 or 14.
So at what point did you feel, or did you hear from Celeste that there were problems at home?
She said how her mom didn't treat her well or whatever, and she didn't like where she was at.
Did she talk at all about her relationship with her parents?
Kind of. She just said they were mean or whatever. She didn't like them.
And then you guys broke up, and the next thing you know, you find out that she's involved with this internet sensation, David.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna happen, like, at all, because like she was always like so happy and stuff.
What is your last memory that you have of Celeste?
We were at PE, and she told me and my friend that she was running away, and she said it was because of her parents, and she was like joking about it, and she was like happy, like joking like she always was, and like it didn't seem real because like she was like playing around, joking about it, and the next day she wasn't at school, and like that's the last time I saw her.
Did it break your heart that you were not going to be with her, or did you feel upset about losing the relationship?
Not really. It was kind of clear that we're like better as friends, but it was kind of sad that I wasn't able to like say goodbye, or like see how she was doing, like when she ran away.
What was your reaction when you saw the breaking news that they had found your ex-girlfriend's body in the trunk of his car?
My heart dropped. I was like, I don't know. I just couldn't believe it. I kind of had a feeling when I saw Like, the first thing, I was like, what if it is her? But I just like brushed it off. But when I saw it really was her, I was like, damn, I really knew.
So let me just make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You had seen the news out of Los Angeles that a body was found in his car.
Yeah.
And you immediately had a sinister thought about Celeste?
Yeah, because one of my friends told me.
Were you at home with your mom when they identified Celeste and you saw it all over the news? Can you remember that moment for us?
Yeah, I was on the way to school, and then like she just like showed me, and like I took a picture of it and I sent it to one of my friends, and he's like, yeah, I saw it too, it's crazy. And I just couldn't believe it.
So this has been the talk of the school?
Yeah.
Just the fact it was someone that my son was so close to at one time and how everything happened, it's kind of scary. It's really close to home. And if it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. And everyone just needs to be very careful on social media.
What about you? What do you think about at night when this kind of flashes through your mind?
I just think like if someone actually like did something, like when she said she was gonna run away, because I feel like no one cared.
Now, of course, there's also that picture of David interacting with an individual in Lake Elsinore, just a couple minutes away, walking distance from Celeste's family's home. Another strange trip that David took occurred quite recently, in August of 2025. He posted this video on his alternate Instagram account. It was taken at the Santa Rosa Motel, and according to Reddit users, David had actually checked into the hotel under a different name. Of course, in this video outside the motel, you see a woman who looks eerily similar to Celeste, specifically the curly hair. There was also an alleged interview with a mother of a child who allegedly went to school with Celeste. Now again, this woman can be making everything up, but judging by the details and how they align with the story we already reviewed, it all seems pretty consistent, and I thought this interview was interesting, so I'll leave it here, and if you guys don't want to listen through it, you can skip about 2 to 3 minutes ahead in this video.
So they were friends for a while, and they did end up dating. There was, like, my son would come home and tell me, Celeste would tell him that there was issues at home, and him and other friends would see, marks like bruises on her, and she would say it was from her mom, and she would always talk about wanting to run away, but it was initially to get away from her mom. David was never mentioned, and she did run away, and that's when we found out about David and who she was actually really talking to. Well, multiple people went to the school about the abuse allegations when she initially ran away, and the mom was investigated. I was told she was cleared from all abuse allegations. So where the bruises came from, I'm not positive, but around that time she was already hanging out with David. She already knew him. And from my understanding is the cops did initially bring her back, and the mom was kind of sleeping in her room with her with the door locked to make sure she wouldn't run away again. But she did, unfortunately. Once everything about the David situation came out, she was very, like, when she went to school, she was very open about who she was with. She didn't keep it a secret. She told a lot of people. When we did find out about who she was with and she ran away again, she had sent my son a text saying that she'll always miss him and she thanks him for being kind to her. She blocked everyone except I think she forgot about one person. And she was pictured, I want to say it was either New York or San Francisco. So she made it there within hours because she was posted, I forgot what it was, but it was deleted right away. And then that person ended up being blocked as well. I do know the kid that was pictured taking the bag. He's been talking and cooperating with the cops. There is another kid who was, I'm trying to figure out if the money that was given that day, because there was a dirt bike purchased for one of the friends too. So I don't know if that was the money that was in the bag that was used for the dirt bike or if that was a separate kind of bribe gift. But he is also cooperating with authorities. The last anyone physically heard from her was the kid that was pictured taking the bag, and he actually had told my son that Celeste told him to tell my son hi and that she missed him. Just mind-boggling to me that, because when she did leave the second time, there was multiple people that went to the school and authorities. Like, we know where she's at. Like, can someone do something? And I don't know, like, what the mom did. I don't like the fact that they're still using the missing persons flyer from when she first went missing and was found, and she came back.
Which one was the first one? I'm going to show
this narrative that she was gone since
the
date on the poster. You know the sad thing, like I had texted one of the security guards I'm close with at the school. She's been there for years and she's seen my kids grow up and Celeste grow up. And I had texted her when they had confirmed it was a teenager, 14 to 15. And I was like, hey, has anyone heard from Celeste? When is the last time anyone's heard from her? And she replied, no one's heard from her since last year. I'll find out more information when I get to work. And a couple hours later, she was like, it's her. And that's when this news started breaking that it was confirmed to be Celeste.
Exactly.
This is like the last time I physically saw her because I was dropping off my sons at school. And I believe Celeste was in the car in front of us in the drop-off line. And when she got out of the car, she just looked absolutely like mad. And she slammed the car door so hard and she just had this look on her face. Like, so something definitely happened that morning, but that was, and I wish I remember the date, but yeah, that was physically the last time I saw her and she was mad.
Now, what's insane is only months after this slew of evidence hit the internet did authorities officially label David as a suspect in the case by late November of 2025, over 2 months after Celeste's body was actually found. This is according to an LAPD source with direct knowledge of the investigation. That same source said the 20-year-old artist has not been cooperative in the investigation. Police tell NBC4 that Celeste's passing had actually likely occurred in the spring and that David likely had helped in dismembering and disposing of the body. Now remember, her body was found September 8th. The Tesla was abandoned in the Hollywood Hills weeks before in early August. But law enforcement is telling NBC that her passing had likely occurred all the way in the spring, meaning she may have been in that trunk for months before her body had been found. Remember, again, the last piece of footage we have of Celeste was from September of 2024 when she was arguing with a neighbor outside her parents' house. That would leave just several months until spring of 2025 when law enforcement is telling NBC that she likely passed away. And they're saying it wasn't just David involved, they believe that he had help in dismembering and disposing of her body. But by February of 2026, reports had come out saying that David was the main target of the murder investigation. At the same time, prosecutors were fighting to force his parents and brother to testify before a California grand jury. His father tried to stop that in court, saying that the process was unfair, but a Texas appeals court sided against the family and said their testimony was important to the case.
Newly unsealed court records in connection to the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez reveal that singer David is now being investigated for her murder. Those documents also provide horrifying new details in this case.
KTLA's Aaron Myers live in our newsroom with more on this breaking story. Aaron.
Court documents made public in the alleged homicide of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez reveal gruesome new details about the death of the teenager, identifying the singer David as the investigation's central target. The documents were made public through Texas appellate proceedings and are tied to the Los Angeles County grand jury murder investigation targeting singer David Burke. Private investigator Steve Fisher posted the documents on his X account. The documents were filed under seal but were made public after the singer's family challenged subpoenas compelling them to testify before a California grand jury. Los Angeles Magazine says the proceedings in Texas weren't sealed, so portions of the California filings were available in the Texas appellate docket. The singer's father, mother, and brother, who live in Texas, were summoned to testify in Los Angeles on February 11th. But David's father filed a petition for writ of habeas corpus, saying the subpoena violated his constitutional due process rights. His lawyers claim he was denied due process because he did not get full, unredacted copies of California certification documents, and that portions establishing why his testimony was material and necessary were withheld, according to Los Angeles Magazine. In the documents, detectives say David and his father have a close relationship. The Texas First Court of Appeals rejected the petition, according to Los Angeles Magazine, telling the family they had until yesterday to file additional appeals.
The Court of Appeal in Texas was very clear in telling David's mother, his father, and his brother that they must appear in front of the grand jury in California. They found that their information would be both material and necessary in terms of this investigation.
As of now, it does not look like anything new was filed in court before the deadline, so David's family may have already testified, according to our legal expert, Allison Treasel.
Now, we don't know for sure if David's parents ended up testifying, but of course, authorities have now pulled together enough evidence, whether through testimonies, investigations, home searches. 5 months after David was reported to be a suspect in this case, 7 months since Celeste's body was actually found in the trunk of a Tesla that belonged to David, and possibly a full year before her life had actually been taken, it's looking like her family might finally receive the justice they deserve, because David has finally been sent to jail. And the reason why it took so long doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the authorities' lack of evidence that actually pairs David and Celeste together. But instead, it's because, as dark as it is, Celeste's body was found in multiple pieces, making it extremely difficult to understand what the true cause of death was. Before they tie someone to a murder case, they gotta figure out what the intention behind that person's passing truly was. And it looks like they're closer than ever to discovering that in the case of Celeste.
Major breaking news now. Detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested singer David Burke for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Burke is being held without bail. The case will be presented to the DA's office on Monday for filing consideration. You may remember, and we've been reporting, Rivas's body was found in the trunk of David's car in September of last year. She was only 14 years old.
Well, Mark and Michelle, yeah, sources are telling us that this is based off of evidence that the LAPD was able to gather and put together and now is going to be presenting to the LA County DA for a filing decision on Monday. This was not from any kind of indictment. We know that the case had gone to a grand jury. It was expected that there might be an indictment coming sometime soon. We were thinking in the last couple of months or in the next few weeks. This was not from that. We are told that this is evidence that they have been compiling going back to when her body was found last September, that now they have reached a point where they believe they have probable cause, and it's gone to the DA.
And so a lot of people wondering, you know, so many things seem to point to him. Why did it take them this long to make the arrest? We know they're pretty methodical about how they do things, but...
Yeah, it's a good question. One of the things that they were waiting on, Mark, was the cause of death. And there was difficulty reaching that cause of death, not to get too graphic, but her body was in multiple parts. It was in, we know from court documents, 2 different body bags in the front trunk of that Tesla when her body was found. So it was difficult for the medical examiner to determine the cause of death. So they had to prove or be able to show to the DA that she was murdered, that it wasn't something else where, you know, let's say that she overdosed and then somebody freaked out and put her body in that trunk. They have to be able to prove that it was murder. They now believe that they can do that.
We also know David, as many entertainers do, had an entourage of people around him at times. I know some other individuals have been considered as drivers of this vehicle or either around. Any information on possibly how this could impact other people that David was around that also may have been around Celeste Rivas?
Michelle, we don't know yet, and if there are any other arrests that are going to be coming in this case. We know that there were a number of witnesses who came and testified in front of the grand jury, again, that this was not an indictment, that this is probable cause that the LAPD put together and moved forward on. But during the grand jury proceedings, which are secret as they're ongoing, that there were a number of other people who came forward, those who are close to David, friends of David, family members of his were subpoenaed to go in front of the grand jury. So if there are other arrests that could be coming, we don't know. But as of right now, he is the only one that we know of under arrest.
So there you have it. It seems like after 7 months, authorities have finally connected these dots and will expose the truth behind the connection between both David and Celeste, and how and why David may have ended up taking this 14-year-old's life.